Hey everybody, so today I am here to do a chit chat video with you guys. I put a poll up on Instagram and this one barely won, but the other choice was a What's in My Diaper Bag summer edition, and since it was so close, that video will be going up on Tuesday. But yes, today I'm here to mainly update you about myself, but there's also some stuff about the girls, which I will start off with first. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get started because I have to take Sophie to the dentist here in like 35 minutes, so gotta get moving. But the first thing I want to mention, because I had a couple questions about it, was the fact that I deleted Facebook. I deleted both my personal and my business account. So I've had a few people ask me why they couldn't find my Facebook page, and that's why. So the only professional platforms I have that you guys can follow me on are Instagram, Pinterest, and also obviously YouTube. I just wasn't paying attention to it. You know, I was slacking on it. I feel like I've become more regular on Instagram. I've been making it a point to be more regular even on Pinterest and pinning stuff over there. So I feel like those two platforms I do rather well at, because I do spend a majority of my time on my personal accounts on those platforms too. But it got to the point where I wasn't on Facebook with my personal account, and I definitely wasn't doing it with my business account either. So I decided, instead of having a platform that never really got an attention, I wasn't giving you updates over there or anything, you know, that you don't see on Instagram. So I just decided to delete it, and well, I decided to delete it when I deleted my personal page. So that's just kind of the explanation with that. But something else I want to mention to you guys, because I know that I've been back and forth on this so many times, and I've talked about it in quite a few of the chit chat videos, but Sophie will be going to preschool this year. You know, we talked about it and we looked more in depth about stuff, and it just makes sense. The preschool that we want to send her to, her preschool program tuition costs is the same as if I enrolled her in daycare just a couple times a week to get that like social experience. And I had talked about how we didn't know if it was necessary for 2 years of preschool, and I think some people got confused on my last chit chat video or whatever it was. I think it's been a really long time now, but I think a lot of people were saying we didn't know if we ever wanted her to do preschool, and that's not the case. She's definitely doing preschool. We just had to decide between 1 year or 2 years, because this year is like more optional, but next year she definitely has to do it because she's not old enough for kindergarten. So it was just deciding what we were going to do this year, because next year she's definitely doing preschool. The year after that she'll do kindergarten, and obviously then we start elementary school. So you know, we were just looking into it because we just didn't know if it was necessary for 2 years of preschool. We have a lot of faith in this preschool to teach her things and to continue to teach her for 2 years. We just didn't know if it was necessary to go on such a regular schedule and already be thrown into preschool when she's still kind of young. And I felt like, you know, maybe we could just throw her in something a couple days a week, like a daycare, where she spends kind of the day there, but it's only a couple times a week, and it's just as expensive to send her to daycare for a couple days as it is to enroll her in her preschool full-time. So it's kind of a no-brainer. She should just go to preschool then and get used to the environment. It's the preschool that we want her to be in, so I just feel like, why change environments if it's not necessary? Sorry I'm stopping, but I'm like sniffling, and I'm so hoping, I feel like I've been on the edge of sickness for like the past few weeks, and now that I said that out loud, I know I'm definitely gonna get a full-blown illness. But I woke up and I was like kind of like stuffy, and I don't know, but yes, that's what that's about. Anyways, back to the preschool. She's going to be doing that. We are also keeping our fingers crossed that we can get her into some activities this summer. I'll give you guys more details if we can get her into them. It's just very limited. We live in a very small place, so it just depends if we can get her in there and enroll in them fast enough where they have slots still open. So that's pretty much everything to do with Sophie. She's doing well, no complaints. We go to the dentist today. So I already did a whole update on Remy. There's not like a ton of new information or anything, but in case you didn't watch that, I just feel like she's been super, what's the word? Clingy. I mean, like, I hate to use that word because they're kids, you know, like if they need you, they need you. But it feels like every little thing upsets her and she wants us, and I don't know, it's just, it feels like she's regressed a little bit, which from what I've read, at 2 years old they can go through a couple different regressions and it's kind of normal, and she's having like new emotions, and I feel like I can see her becoming older, like emotionally and everything else, like, so it makes sense to me. But at the same time, it's been hard. It's been really hard, especially at bedtime. Bedtime has gotten a lot better, but we still have our challenges every now and then. But yeah, and as far as the last thing to do with the girls goes, is I feel like I've been noticing over the past week or so how grown up they seem. Like, I'm gonna turn this down so you guys don't have to hear bubble guppies in the background. But it's just like, I look at them and they seem a lot older. I feel like Remy no longer being a baby has been like the catalyst for this, because it's not like it came out of nowhere with Sophie. She's been grown up. She's 3.5. So, you know, I've known that. But because Remy is now also acting like her older sister, she's interested in the same things, they want to do the same things, they can talk and communicate to each other. You know, when I go to the store, just like a super quick trip, I don't have to bring anything with me anymore. Like, I don't even bring a diaper bag. If we're literally gonna go somewhere and come right back, I don't worry about it. Like, that's to the extent of how grown up they are, and it really just makes you like step back and reflect, and you're like, I don't have babies anymore. Like, I don't have to carry around pacifiers or blankies or just like any of this stuff. I don't know how to put it. They're not all grown up, obviously. They still need us for a lot of things. But it's just to go from having 2 very small children who I both considered babies when we had Remy, and now, you know, with her being 2 years old and Sophie being 3.5, I feel like we are like out of that baby stage. You know, the only thing really baby left is Remy's still in diapers, but we've been working on that, and I'm not really worried about it because we took our time with Sophie, and that ended up, I feel like, being the best resort, because when we did finally get to it, she picked it up like that, and it's been pretty smooth sailing ever since. So I'm not really worried about the fact that, you know, I can't get Remy to be potty trained, because her sister was nearly like, I think 2.5 or 3 years old before we got her potty trained, so who cares? But that's basically the only thing that's a babyish about them still. So I don't know, it's been really bittersweet, because I love the fact that they're grown to the point where they can talk to each other and they love the same things and they want to do the same things, and it means they want to hang out and be around each other a lot. It also means a lot of fighting, a lot of tantrums, a lot of drama, but if you're a girl mom, drama is no stranger to you. But at the same time, it's just, it's a little bitter, because it's just like, they definitely aren't babies anymore, and it makes you sad, even though our kids will always be our babies. But that's basically everything to do with the girls and everything that I've been thinking about and wondering about. And I think the next thing to update you on is myself, and I will start with an update about my doctor's visit and my lab results and stuff like that. So I think the last time I left you guys, I was waiting to go back to the doctor to have an ultrasound done to make sure that everything had cleared out after a month. I was also getting weekly draws for my HCG levels, and yeah, and I'm happy to report that the ultrasound came back really good. She said that I did have blood in there still, but she was not going to make me have the DNC because blood will come out with my period. So that really wasn't a problem, which was like a huge relief. And I don't think a lot of people understood that, and I mean this more like in a personal sense, that I had this like looming over my head for an entire month. You know, it's like we went in there and you talk about everything that happened and it hurts and it sucks, but for an entire month I had to wonder if I was going to have a DNC at the end of all of this. You know, like a month later, would I have to have a DNC to remove stuff from a pregnancy that I lost a month ago? And that's just really, really hard. Like, that's a hard thing to think about. It's a hard thing to go through, I'm sure, and I'm sure there's women who have been in that position, and I feel so bad for you, because it's just, it feels like torture. honestly. It feels like, you know, that whole month you're making progress and things, not by a huge amount, but little by little, do get better. And the thought of me having to go through a D&C, I was like, it's just gonna throw me like a million steps backwards. There's no way that it couldn't, because I would just be thrown into more of the fact that this happened. So I was really like, I don't even know how to put it. I was super, super anxious when I went to my appointment. Yeah, so I was really, really relieved to hear that. She also told me that I probably wouldn't get a period until my HCG levels were 0, and I've now had 6 or 7 draws, I can't remember, but I am not at 0, and that sucks so much. I'm so sick of this. I know a lot of people don't think anything of getting a blood test. It's simple, whatever. But first of all, blood tests are never simple for myself. I couldn't tell you exactly what's wrong with my veins because I've been told a million different things. People tell me I have side veins, I have deep veins, I have like whatever. I just apparently have difficult veins to get blood out of. So anytime I have to go get a blood draw, it's not just a blood draw for me. It's normally in both arms. It's a good amount of pain, and they have to end up using bigger needles and stuff like that. And it's really, I've found that only really experienced people can get them. And there's like a couple women who, like, when I see them, I'm like, oh, thank you, you are here. I know it will take one poke and you will be done. But it's not easy for me. It's kind of painful. I don't like the idea of, I don't have a problem with needles, but I don't like stuff to do with skin. So if it's like piercing the skin, if it's cutting the skin, stuff like that, it makes my stomach turn. So there's only so much of it I can take, especially when they do that thing where they pull it out and they kind of like stick it in a different way. That stuff freaks me out. So it's not easy for me in the first place, but it's not easy to go keep getting HCG draws for a pregnancy that I no longer have. And it just feels wrong. I just wish that I was getting these tests done to make sure my pregnancy was doing well, not that I had lost my pregnancy and we need to make sure that, you know, my body's going back to normal. It just sucks. It's a reminder. It's a sucky experience. It sucks. It really, really does. And, well, it was close to 2 weeks ago now. Well, actually, yes, it's exactly 2 weeks ago now. My HCG was at 11, and this week it was at 9. So it's going down really slowly now, and it's aggravating. It's really, really aggravating. And this week was especially hard because my period did come back. I was hesitant to believe it was my period at first. I did not want to get my hopes up. I did not, because during my miscarriage, I kept bleeding, then stop bleeding, bleeding and stop bleeding. And every time I'd stop bleeding, I'd get like this little bit of relief, being like, okay, maybe that's over, because it'd be like 3-4 days of not bleeding, and then out of nowhere, bam, it hit me again. And I did not want to get my hopes up that my period was back. And I got my period before I had my HCG draw. So I was like, oh, like maybe my numbers are back to 0 and this is great. We can like start to move forward and this is awesome. And then I got my HCG draw like 2 days later and they were like, no, it's at 9. It's like, this is great. But my doctor said she's comfortable now with the fact of having an ultrasound, the fact that I've now had a period. She's comfortable with only going until my number's less than 5. At first, she wanted me to go down to 0 in the case that I got pregnant again. She wanted to make sure that they were separate pregnancies and everything was fine. But now that we've had an ultrasound to see that, you know, nothing's in there, and also that I've had my period, so obviously nothing's in there, you know, she's fine with going just below 5. So I'm hoping that within the next few lab draws that it's below there, because I am so sick of going. Like I've explained it already, it just kind of sucks. And with my period coming back, and I was kind of hoping this is what it meant, but a lot of my joint pain has come back, and it's been really bad. Like a week before my period, I went back to like not sleeping. I went back through my old bad just nighttime habits of being up until 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that, but I'm still able to wake up relatively early, so I'm fine with that. I don't really care, but it's maddening to want to go to sleep but not be able to because I'm in pain. And that's how bad the pain is, especially around my period. It just gets really bad. It's in my hips, my knees, and my ankles, and it's just like that pain radiates from those points and makes my entire lower half just hurt. Now, if I take ibuprofen or something, it will make it subside long enough I can fall asleep, but I'm not going to take ibuprofen every single night. I just can't do that. So I just try to tough it out around my period. I try to tell myself it won't last, but by like a week of it, you're starting to like lose your crap. You're like, I can't take this anymore. Like, it's so bad. I just want to sleep. I want to get a good night's rest, and it seems very difficult to do. But since my period has came, my joint pain has been significantly better. Like the past few days, I haven't even really had any at all. Last night I did have some, but I think that's because my period slowed down yesterday afternoon, but then picked up by nighttime. So I think it just kind of was going with the surge of my hormones or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's basically everything to do with me physically. And you can see, you know, my period brought some friends along with it, and I noticed that. I noticed the acne and my joint pain, and I was like, I really hope this means my period's coming, but I was not going to get my hopes up, and I was really shocked when it did happen. And like I said, even when it did, I was like, all right, well, we'll see. You know, if I keep bleeding for, you know, X amount of days, then I'll believe it. But it definitely turned into a period. It felt like my period and everything, so that's good. That's one step forward. It's been kind of hard to go through this physically. My doctor did not want me to use a menstrual cup this cycle. She wanted me to use pads one more time. And it's just been hard because I don't equate pads to anything other than miscarriage or postpartum. And otherwise I use my menstrual cup, and it's just kind of hard to go through seeing this much blood again and stuff like that. It just brings back bad memories because it only happened a month ago and stuff like that. So it's been a little difficult, but I'm feeling more in a better spot now. About today's Thursday, so about 5 days out now. But yeah, so I also wanted to give an update like emotionally, and there's not a whole lot to really say other than I feel like I'm doing better. And like I said earlier in this video, I feel like you little by little do get better. You learn how to, you know, put the pieces together slowly at the rate that you're comfortable with. I definitely still have my hard nights, you know, like I would say during the day is not really a problem for me. I feel like I've gotten kind of back into my old routine of cleaning and working, playing and watching the kids and stuff to do with our everyday life that, you know, during the day it really doesn't hit me unless something like my HCG draw happens and I'm disappointed or I'm upset or whatever. But for the most part, it happens at night and I don't even expect it to happen. It just kind of does. And I'll kind of spend the better part of the night crying. So, I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it or hide it or force it downwards. But I did want to touch on something that I've been feeling a lot lately. And it's like the pressure of feeling like I should be okay. I have like a lot of guilt on those nights that I am a mess. You know, the last time it happened, I apologized to Mark like 5 or 6 times. And of course, as the perfect husband he is, he told me that I was silly for apologizing and everything else, but sorry, I had to settle a disagreement. But anyways, what I was saying is that I do know that there's pressure on other people to feel like they're okay, and I know that because I've felt like that. I've had people who, when I've spoke out about it, say that I've felt the same way about certain situations and whatever. And I just wanted to remind you all that we shouldn't feel that way. I mean, I'm not perfect. I still feel guilty when I feel like a mess, and I feel like there's pressure from me to seem okay and to be okay and to move on and make regular content and stop posting about it on Instagram and stuff. But even though I feel those things, I'm gonna do what's right for me and what I feel like is the right thing for me to do, which is to not ignore this. I feel like doing that would only blow up in my face later and I'd have problems from it. So I'm gonna feel what I need to feel, and I'm gonna be slightly unapologetic for it. I apologize to like my husband or like to my husband for my kids and stuff like that, because I know what I can be. I know what my best is, and I feel like crap for not being 100%. And I don't know, I just have a lot of guilt around that because I know that they deserve that. I know that I can be that and everything. But at the same time, like, this has completely knocked me off my feet, and I need to take the time to figure out how to get back there in a healthy way. Like, I can't just throw myself back in and suppress everything and just be in a bad spot, but say that I'm in a good spot, you know? So if you're struggling with anything, you don't have to pretend like you're not, is what I'm trying to say. And pretending to be that when I'm not doesn't do me any justice. And at the end of the day, it's me who's screwed up. It's me who's heartbroken. It's me who's went through all of this, and my husband, and we will deal with it how we see fit, because at the end of the day, it's our problem. So that's what I keep trying to remind myself and what I keep trying to do. But other than that, I've been all right. I read a quote the other day, and it was like, it kind of hurt to read, but I did definitely need to read it, and I've been trying to keep it in mind. But it said to let go of the illusion that it could have been any different, and it couldn't have. You know, we weren't going to bring that baby home in November long before we knew it, and that wasn't on the table for us. It really wasn't. So I need to stop thinking of what could have been and what November could have been and everything, when it really wasn't ever going to be. And that's hard. It's a really, really big, hard thing to swallow. And I'm not perfect at it, because I still do think about November all the time. And it's gonna suck when it comes around. I'm gonna be upset because I'm not a perfect human being. But I'm trying to keep myself in the most realistic mindset as possible. Okay, so I'm finishing this on my phone because we got to the dentist early, really quickly, and I was at home, I was breaking up another argument, and then I realized we had to go. So I did not finish this at home, but what I was saying was that I do feel like I'm getting better day by day emotionally, but you know, just like with anything that you go through, there's things that set you back. There's good days, bad days. So I'm just trying to take, and as cliche as it sounds, but each day as it comes, and just deal with that. I try not to think too far ahead or try to let myself go too much backwards, but that's basically everything that's going on right now. And moving forward, once I get done with my period, will be waiting for me to ovulate, and we'll be trying to have another baby again. So I'm gonna go back to what I was doing before, like not letting you guys know if I'm pregnant or if it didn't work, and not really talking about that. If there's things emotionally that I want to talk about, or if something crazy absolutely happens to me physically or something where I want to bring it up, I will. But I liked doing that because, I don't know, had everything worked out, I think it would have been like a really cool surprise for you guys. But I did get some questions about whether or not we told the girls, and we didn't. So we didn't have to explain it to them either. We were waiting, basically we were going to tell them right before we would have announced publicly. So that never happened. But yeah, so if we get pregnant, we wouldn't tell the girls until right before everybody else basically knew. And there was something else that I couldn't think. Moving forward, like now that I feel like we're really close to trying to conceive, I feel like I'm more nervous about it than I was before. I think before I just didn't even allow myself to like think about trying to conceive, because I felt like, oh, it's a whiles off, we have to wait. Like, we couldn't do anything until my period came back, you know, and you can't control that. So we really didn't know when that was going to be. But now that we are, and you know, we're close to being able to try again, I do feel like this time there is pressure for the pregnancy to go smoothly and to get a living baby out of it, because it's like, this is my second loss in a row, and if I lose one more, then I'm like at a medical higher risk of having miscarriages. And you know, my doctor wanted to do testing and stuff, and like all of that just feels very scary. So I feel like there's pressure, not necessarily on me, but like just in general for the next pregnancy to work, and that feels scary. It feels, the thought is scary to even be pregnant after all of this. I mean, even during that pregnancy, I still had my fears and things that I was going through. I'm gonna switch hands because this one's getting tired, but I was still going through stuff based off of my last miscarriages. You know, every time I go to the bathroom and I felt something weird, I was nervous. You know, just there's so many little things that are just like a habit after you've had a loss, or even if you've had reoccurring losses, that when you're pregnant, it just kind of becomes part of your pregnancy. Like, I would feel my boobs all the time to see if they were sore, just as like to have a constant sign of pregnancy. If I didn't really feel pregnant, I felt worried. Like I said about the bathroom stuff, I think that's just one of the biggest things. Like anytime anything feels weird down there, you're like, oh my God, is this it? You know, like, and you have to live with that, and you have to learn how to deal with that in a healthy way. And I said this before, that I was really happy that this past pregnancy, I was like happy, and I tried not to focus on that stuff, which, don't get me wrong, I was dealing with that, but I didn't let it overcome me. I didn't let it take the joy away from the pregnancy. And looking back on that now, I'm really grateful that I didn't, because I just have all these great memories of enjoying my pregnancy. And it's still a little sad for me, but like each time I think about it, it gets a little bit better, and I just become a little bit more grateful that that's the attitude that I had. And I'm really hoping that next time I can also keep that attitude. But I'm trying to be determined, just like I was last time, to not let that give me a negative experience with any pregnancy, no matter how long I might be fortunate enough to be pregnant. But yeah, that's just kind of where I am right now. You know, like I have good days and bad days. I have good feelings and nervous feelings about trying to conceive again. And I just, you know, I really want this baby that we want. That's all I want to do, is I just want to bring a baby home. So I know that no matter what way we have to do it, we will get that baby that we want for our family. So there's like peace in that. But you know, like I said, I have mixed feelings a lot of times. And I mean, it's been over a month now, but you know, no one's ever gonna be the same as they were before, and it takes time for everybody to heal. And I'm definitely being reminded that healing is a process. You know, it's not just an experience and you're done. It's an ongoing process that you have to deal with it as it comes. So I'm trying to be more patient with myself and remind myself that I don't have to have my crap together all the time, and neither do you. And I think all of us should try to remember that more often, because I know that there's definitely pressure and stuff like that to make people feel like they should be on the ball all the time. But that's just not realistic, and it's not healthy, especially if you've gone through stuff. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like it still feels kind of crappy to leave it off where it is, but I feel like it's getting better. You know, like I'm not completely sad and heartbroken after doing this video and talking to you guys. So definitely making progress talking about my feelings and stuff like that. And sorry for the cuts and the different camera changes and stuff like that. Today's just been crazy, but I did really want to talk to you guys, so I was gonna make it work no matter what I had to do. Thank you guys for all your love and support. Seriously, I can't say it enough. Your messages, your comments, your everything. It means so much. Just when you guys even say that you're thinking about me or anything more than that, it's just, it really does make me feel better. It really does. So don't underestimate just reaching out and letting somebody know that you're thinking about them. But yeah, that is everything that I have for today. I will see you guys on Tuesday, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.